continue throughout the tournament, but we are ready for our next match of the day. So give a warm welcome, playing an elimination match first, it's Purple.
Purple looking for a reversal of fortunes after a nail-biting encounter with Sintalol earlier in the day.
And his opponent deciding that face is indeed the place, it's Ant.
Perhaps the nicest guy you will ever meet outside of the game, but a stone-cold killer as soon as the cards are dealt.
Elimination match. Purple versus Ant.
I've known Ant since 2014. We started playing together like a long time ago.
Purple, I think, is the one that I want to face the least, because a lot of his decks do seem like really good against mine.
Ant. I mean, Ant's doing Ant things. He brought full aggro.
It's not like a huge margin where like I can't win. It's just like he's definitely the one in the group that I really don't want to face.
He seems pretty confident, but I know Ant's got some game, yeah.
Purple versus Ant. Let's do this!
Two America's players step into the ring, but not in a position that they'd like to be. This is the elimination match. No more room for error between Purple from Canada and Ant from the United States. As we take a look at how Bracket C has been shaping up, Standardachi and Sintalol will be weighing in the winners match, a battle between two European players. And as they were able to withstand the storm, we'll find out who between Ant and Purple will survive to Saturday. My name is Frodan. I'm joined by Brian Kibler over at the commentator's desk. Kibler, what's standing out to you when you look at Purple and Ant and they face off here?
Well, first of all, I hate to see this because I love both Purple and Ant. They're both great players and great guys outside the game. Both these players also fought through very close matches before this. Purple was up 2-0, then ended up getting reverse swept on his Priest. And Ant, he had a game where he had Keliseth double Shadow Step that Standardachi was able to win against him. Both of them must have felt like they were just so close to victory, and yet here they are in elimination.
That's right. And when we take a look at their deck lists, we'll see a Priest ban for Purple. That is the big question of what you'll ban from Ant's lineup, considering he doesn't have Warlock, which is the big enemy of most tournament lineups. So without the big spell Priest, and we look at the matchup spread, I gotta say, at least on paper, theoretically, Ant doesn't exactly have a very good chance here, because there's a lot of red when I'm looking at the matchup spread.
Yeah, this looks pretty ugly for Ant here. Not only are these just overall archetypes generally disadvantaged for him, Purple has particularly tuned versions of these to beat aggressive decks.
Right.
He's playing Tempo Rogue with his own Tar Creepers. He's playing just a lot of tools to shut down that early aggression that Ant is hoping to bring to bear.
Right, and in the words of Purple, part of the reason why he felt so unfavored against Sintalol was that he had an aggro lineup to beat aggro, not an aggro lineup meant to beat controlling styles. And so Ant plays directly into Purple strategy, while Purple plays directly into Sintalol. And then, of course, that's kind of how the dynamic works with the rock, paper, scissors. We'll see how this ends up shaping up, though. Ant has a start with some early game beasts and fireflies. Purple has the Coin SI7 agent in his back pocket.
And there's Keliseth, too.
Man, and Prince Keliseth with the Shadow Step available to him.
And he's going to go for it right away. So the Keliseth, Shadow Step Keliseth ensures every minion Purple draws from now on out will be +2/+2. And if he finds a pirate, that means the 3/3 patches.
Yes, and you know, a start like this quick is important for the Rogue. Not even necessarily just for the Shadow Steps. Obviously, that's an amazing opportunity for Rogue, and it is usually a 70% win rate or above when you're able to do this. But it's important for the Rogue to even just contest the early game minion too, because aggro Druid is so powerful if it lands Mark Yashiraj or even just having a simple buff on a couple minions.
Also, the Galaka Crawler that we see Ant having picked up, that is a powerful tool in this matchup because so many of the early game minions from the Rogue tend to be pirates.
That's right.
Purple doesn't have a pirate heavy draw here. In fact, he has none so far. So that Galaka Crawler maybe a little bit stranded in Ant's hand as he hopes to draw out a kill on a pirate. That Crypt Lord, though, that is a very strong draw from Ant here because it has a lot of help and helps him potentially snowball this board with Captain plus Mark of the Lotus bringing out his own patches and buffing it next turn. But here's the Tar Creeper. Tar Creeper, as said at the beginning, is one of the inclusions in Purple's list that is not really that common these days in Tempo Rogue, that does give him a bit of an edge against other aggressive decks. It really helps shut down even this buffed board from Ant a bit.
This is kind of what we're talking about. Aggro Druid will get to the board very early on and pressure the Rogue to the point where they can't really come back. And this is the one window Ant has. Even though Ant's running away with this, if this doesn't work out, the game can turn very quickly in Purple's favor. And he already has cards that influence the matchup, like Tar Creeper doing his job. You know, and Purple getting the double Shadow Step Kelseth isn't exactly getting the card that he really wants right off the bat here. I mean, Edwin has a 6/6 upgrade and all, but, you know, where's his Serenite Chain Gangs? Where's, you know, his other Tar Creeper that he wanted?
And that quarter Creeper picked up would have been fantastic earlier to get more of the discounts from the early minions dying. Now it's a bit inefficient, and Ant with this Crypt Lord is going to be able to keep growing it, so it'll be further out of range of being able to be taken down by Purple's minions.
Ant's contemplating how he wants to get this quarter Creeper down to this turn, but does have to make a couple sacrifices. This Aggro Druid, we've been mentioning it all weekend long, and we'll continue to beat you guys over the head with it. Is it a liability or is it a strength? Ant was talking to us about how it was a key deck in his lineup.
I think the key deck probably for the tournament is, a lot of people brought like the aggressive Druid, which is good against the Tempo Rogues. So we'll see if like that actually just gets to be a thing where maybe like some of the Tempo Rogues just can't pull out the win in the end. So I don't know. It's gonna be Tempo Rogue or Aggro Druid, one of those two.
Now Aggro Druid is supposed to be great against the Rogue in theory. However, there is a lot of anti-aggro tech here with the the Tar Creeper, excuse me, in for Purple. So it does influence the matchup to a very even spread. So even though Aggro Druid has a slight edge over the Rogue, I think that margin is kind of nullified.
Oh, that backstab actually sets up Purple to be able to backstab plus SI plus Creeper this turn.
Right. Even at the option to Shadow Step. Just to reduce the amount of wide buff that would really put pressure on him too much.
Yeah, but this Crypt Lord is still proving to be quite the problem.
Yeah, you know, the 7/7 Quarter Creeper is great, but it still can't even necessarily get past the first taunt minion. And it'll continue to grow if Ant plays a single minion. It'll put him out of range of a double dagger attack.
But the big thing is that not only does Purple have the buffed minions that he's drawing at this point, he also just has many more high impact cards in general. If he does just sort of exchange resources here with Ant, if Ant's not actually pushing enough damage to the face, right, Ant has a lot of really low impact cards he can draw. His deck is full of one-cost minions, full of buffs that don't necessarily do that much if you can't keep a really big board around, where Purple can draw Serenite Chain Gang, double buff. He can draw just a ton of really high impact cards, and if he can take down this Crypt Lord with, say, a Vilespine Slayer, that could be a huge swing. But that Cobalt Scalebane is a really big draw, as we see a big fan of Ant's in the crowd as well.
That's right. Ant needs to win this in order to survive, so his fans are looking on keenly for his victory, as Ant right now picks up that Scalebane, like you mentioned. Pretty powerful card, and obviously Scalebane's the best play here, but then we start thinking about the board state. What are we trading into? Are we trading into? Now you're seeing the importance of that dagger attack, by the way.
Ooh, that is an angry, angry Crypt Lord.
Wow, let's see magic from the Swashbuckler. Not exactly the draw Purple wanted.
And I think Purple may have.
Oh wait, we forgot about the patches.
Keeper of the Grove here.
Wow.
That can silence the Crypt Lord.
Oh my goodness.
That is an incredibly powerful hit for Purple here. Silence the Crypt Lord allows him to just punch through and clear all of the major threats from Ant.
I wonder.
If he silences the Crypt Lord, his Corridor Creeper can kill the Cobalt Scalebane. He can trade patches with the opposing Corridor Creeper. His opponent just has a 1/6 and a 1/2.
Yeah, he's a little bit short of mana because obviously he would like to even Shadow Step
and shoot again too.
Oh my gosh, that would be disgusting.
That Keeper of the Grove was gross. Ant suddenly went from having this tremendous protection of the Crypt Lord to getting his entire board picked apart.
Is there any value in shadow stepping your Swashbuckler here, or maybe even using on the Keeper of the Grove perhaps, keeping it in your back pocket?
There's definitely some argument. You have a feeling that maybe there's a Galaka Crawler waiting in the wings because Ant has had a card for quite a while. But there's so many good targets for Shadow Step in the matchup that I think Purple would like to be able to hold on and keep it available for something higher impact.
It's true.
Trying to play around the Crawler, which will come back down and eat spot later too.
Oh.
Okay.
Someone called for a noble steed. Bone Mare on 7. That is ridiculous amount of stats here. And Keeper of the Grove no longer is a little bit weak on the board here. It's going to dominate everything. Purple thinking about what trades he wants, thinking about Savage Roar possibilities, maybe some buffs. Single buff would create a double trade scenario anyways.
Savage Roar is the draw, but the 7/7 Bone Mare is going to be able to survive this. Ant can roar, take down the big taunted minion, but you'd have to send his face and the Raven into the Bone Mare to clear it off and leave himself with nothing. But I think he may have to just do that and just pray to draw living mana.
Yeah, it's a full clear, but at the same time, Purple has nothing of substance. He has a Shadow Step.
Yeah, you don't want to be the player clearing your opponent's board as the aggro druid. You want to be the player who's attacking the base. And deckhand.
Okay. I mean, just putting on pressure and dominating the board. Your opponent already played the Galaka Crawler.
Yep. Purple has to be considering the fact that living mana at any point is a potentially lethal draw alongside any kind of buff. So he does have to put a clock on Ant. He can't just sit back and try and play full on control. While he would love to play around a possible Galaka draw here, he does need to get the pressure on.
That contests the 4-3, but at the same time, Purple's not even necessarily occupied with that. He's thinking about ways he can kill. He can get Leroy right now and just end the game.
Yeah, the Shadow Step does give him more burst potential. Oh, Chain Gang, that may just seal the deal.
Even Shadow Step and play it for another one, but it seems like that's just a waste in this position because you lose the stat buff. Keeps the Shadow Step in his back pocket. Ant is now on his last turn, unless he can come with something big here. And that is not it. A very pitiful Bloodsail Corsair. Purple is able to win the War of Attrition and start off the series with a victory.
Orange, a practice partner of Purple here, very happy to see his teammate pick up the win.
Yeah, and his girlfriend Courtney looks on as well, as Purple needs all the support. He told me he was crushed by his first series loss. We'll see if he's able to bounce back here in the elimination match, but we're just getting started here as Purple takes the lead 1-0. Plenty more Hearthstone to play here in the Hearthstone World Championship.
The quest for Hearthstone's greatest prize continues when the Hearthstone World Championship returns.
I'm Ant, I play for Space Station Gaming, and I'm going to be competing in the World Championship. I think what sets me apart is I'm untiltable, you know? It's just impossible to tilt me. Even if I lose, still play in the game I love, and how can you be upset after that? I got to play in the Spring Playoffs, where I top 4'd, which qualified me for the Spring Championships, where I top 4'd, which qualified me for the World Championship. Let me see, Shanghai, here to Sydney. Oh, right after Sydney, I'm going to Germany. And now I get to go to Amsterdam for Worlds. It's still hard to believe it. Like, I still wake up, like, sometimes and just like, is this really happening? It just feels amazing. My family doesn't really like understand esports very much. They kind of just like see I'm going to all these cool places and they're all pretty excited for me. My mom's like pretty excited, except she's kind of like nervous. She's always like, I'm scared, don't go to Sydney, you're gonna get hurt, or like, don't go to Germany, you're gonna get hurt, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, don't worry, all right, they're gonna take care of me. Yeah, I do have people come up to me, you know, ask me for a picture, just like shake my hand and say they love me, or like they watch my video, they love my story, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff's incredible. The fact that I have any fans at all is incredible. It's really indescribable, honestly. I'm preparing for the World Championship, pretty much just playing with a bunch of players. Yeah, we're just trying to play, you know, a good portion of the day and try to just find out the best lineup. It's always good when you have like a big play group because you can play 1,000 games, but when you talk to other people, they also have thousands of games as well. And you probably learn more from talking to other people than, you know, grinding out another 1,000 games, because you might be doing something the same way every time and not really considering other things that other people are doing. People always ask me, like, are you scared to play anybody? Like, no, absolutely not. Like, why would I be scared to play anybody in the World Championship? I'm just playing Hearthstone like I do every day. There's no way I'm going to be scared of anybody there. So yeah, I don't know. 2018 is going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. You know, I won't go away. Hopefully.
Well met.
My name's Purple, I'm 26 years old, I'm from Toronto, Canada. I play Hearthstone about 8 to 10 hours a day. My favorite card is Gadget's Hand Auctioneer. Gadget's Hand Auctioneer draws cards. There's a definite correlation in the current metagame towards drawing cards and win rate. There's no Canadian food. What's Canadian food? Yeah, I don't actually like poutine. That's like the one thing that's categorized as Canadian. I don't like it. I am a very emotional Hearthstone player. I feel happy, I feel frustrated, I let it all out on stream. I'm very expressive. Yeah, you feel a bit of everything in a game of Hearthstone.
Perhaps not the best poker face, but he's got the Hearthstone skills to back it up, as Purple's currently up 1-0 and looking quite flustered despite the fact that he won game 1.
Yeah, he said in that little piece, you know, always emotional, win or lose, and you know, we'll see if he can get some winning done with this Priest deck, the Highlander Priest against Ant's Aggro Druid. This is one of the matchups where we have seen Aggro Druid very much struggle.
Yeah, that's right. The Highlander Priest gains so many ways to destroy big boards, but Ant's got kind of a really powerful opening start with Diamond Mark of Yashiraj. That's the kind of stuff that you want to see early on. If you can get a buff on top of that through a Mark of the Lotus or Power of the Wild, you're cooking early on unless Priest has silence or another form of removal.
Purple, though, with a pretty good opening himself, both the Loot Hoarder for a little bit of early foresight, Tar Creeper, then Pyromancer plus Smite, but Ant does have you know, the ability to go relatively wide, so Purple may need a little bit more AoE to get the job done.
I mean, I'm looking at that Tar Creeper, and that was a big reason why Purple was able to stabilize against that early game Druid board in the previous game, and potentially in this game as well. Because this start with the Dire Mole is exactly what you're looking for. Although, Ant does have an opportunity to even just go wider onto the board at first and try and get a bigger setup as opposed to the immediate payoff through Mark of Yashiraj.
Yeah, Corsair plus Mark of the Lotus does give him patches with a buff on 4 minions. He can then potentially kill the Loot Hoarder or just go face to give him you know, quite a bit of pressure going on. However, Purple with the Pyromancer Smite does have a decent clear of quite a bit of that.
Right, and the problem is too that this is his only beast, so if it does go down, then Mark of Yashiraj will be either put on reserve or will have to be used suboptimally just as a 2/2 buff.
Yeah, We saw Hoy actually in multiple games yesterday where he really struggled to find the target for Mark Yashiraj. All right, so yeah, Ant is actually going to not buff the board. He's going to take a little bit slower, play out the all 4 minions. And then this, though, without the buff,
It's a full board clear.
yeah, so Pyromancer, Circle of Healing first, lets him get the 1 damage and everything after the heal effect, and then Power Word Shield is going to clear off all of those 2 health minions. So that AoE buff in Ant's hand looks a lot less powerful right now.
Yeah, I like holding on to the Holy Smite just as removal for the future, and then the Pyromancer contests a Mark Yashiraj buff anyways. Man, that's annoying. But Ant picks up another beast, so he doesn't have to commit to the Mark Yashiraj compared to what he was planning to originally with his mulligan.
He could also play, for instance, either Firefly plus Fire Elemental or Firefly plus Raven, Mark of the Lotus to kill this wild Pyromancer. The Pyromancer is too scared to leave play. If he's going to be playing out a wider board here, I feel like he wants to take that down. Can you just go ahead and use Hero?
Yeah, but this is where the Tar Creeper puts a big stop into the plans of Ant.
There's also just the Holy Smite. I mean, Holy Smite here kills the 1 beast, and he's left with Mark of Yashiraj. So I think what Ant's plan was here was I want to play my beast so I can buff it and attack with it, but Purple had the perfect removal solution to end up getting rid of his board. Does find a Druid of the Swarm though, so Mark of Yashiraj is still a possibility.
Yeah, I think Ant doesn't want to wait any longer about the possibility of waiting for another beast. Pushes a little bit deeper into his deck.
I hope you like my invention.
With the Novice Engineer first means that if Shadow Visions pick up the Shadower Pain, he actually won't be able to land it. But he has another option too in the Psychic Scream. So if his opponent goes wide with a I'm blank.
Living Man?
Living Man, exactly. Thank you. He's able to deal with the board immediately and then essentially just set the game back to the beginning frame.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot because the fact that Purple has Lyra in his hand, it does mean that there has to be some excitement for just taking a cheap spell. He has Radiant in play, his Lyra drawn. So if he did take Pain, he could possibly play Lyra, Pain something, and just get that chain going. However, there's always the possibility that Ant buffs this up to 4 attack, which makes the Pain much weaker, and leaves Purple perhaps wanting to have a better AoE board clear.
This is a good hedge too by Ant too, realizing that there's a possibility of AoE. There's multiple ones. There's Dragonfire Potion, there's Psychic Scream, and it doesn't want to commit the Druid of the Swarm. It just wants to take it out with the hero power instead.
Oh, Potion of Madness here is fantastic for Ant.
Gosh.
Gives him a free spell off of Lyra, and he's going to cycle this Mind Blast for another card. And now, because he was able to steal a 2-attack minion, he's able to attack and clear off this Druid of the Swarm here. And suddenly, there's Lyra versus 1 minion.
Yeah, Savage Robe has to be used by Ant in order to kill this Lyra.
And Purple actually has had a Loot Hoarder die, so Twilight Call does have a Death Rattle minion to bring back.
That's right. Unfortunately, Ant had his Bloodsail Corsair played early, so no patches comes out. That is brutal.
Yeah, forced to roar to take down Lyra to avoid just the value chain here from Purple. And now Purple is at 30 life.
He does actually have a Death Realm minion that died with his
Loot Hoarder there.
Yeah, so not the worst thing in the world. A lot of times when you get those spells, you can just have nothing.
Well, it's actually pretty great because he's just looking to draw. He's just looking to find more removal, ultimately find his Raza plus Anvin win condition. But frankly, he's just exhausting Ant of resources. We've seen this happen quite a bit with Aggro Druid over the course of the event so far. He doesn't have big card draw. It only really has singular living manas in order to come back when it runs out of gas. And Purple already has a solution in that Psychic Scream.
Now that Ant's committed all the cards from his hand into the board, Purple can, well, I mean, he can just deal with this board one time, and that is quite the 2-card combo he picked up with Raza and Shadowy Branduin. Just go ahead and play either of those right now. Raza and Bud Mage Danos is, of course, more power on the board, but Shadowy Branduin sets up for your clears next turn. And that should pretty much be all she wrote. There's no draw here from Ant that'll help him because Purple has the Psychic Scream. That insult to injury, Ant has only ways to harm his own board.
Really just going through the motions at this point. Purple has all the tools he needs to pick apart everything that Ant can do. Raza is going to be able to kill all of these, well, not all of them, but the only ones that have any real threat, the two 3/2s here. And now, I mean, Ant's going to play this out at least a little longer, but Purple has things essentially all wrapped up.
Yeah, I think with Shadowy Branduin and Raza, I mean, Ann says that you don't have lethal shown on board, so I'm going to do my due diligence. But, I mean, Purple could he has mind control in this Galebane type situation. That's how far ahead he is right now.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
I don't disagree here.
We see a laugh from Ant there, who appreciates the nonsense of it all.
Yeah, not really a chance. This is one of the hardest matches for Aggro Druid, especially with one that was able to stabilize early with the wild Pyromancer plays. Ant picks up Quarter Creeper way too late. That's going to do it. 2-0 for Purple. One game away from sending a fellow Americas player back to the United States. As Hot Meowth has to get one last meme of relevance for 2017 year of Hearthstone. Shout out to all the people that traveled, by the way. There's a lot of people that came from different countries to visit the Hearthstone World Championship. You're all lovely and beautiful. And some of you guys came at like 9 a.m. I was really pleasantly surprised, but also shocked that you guys came here that early on a Friday morning.
Yeah, I was especially impressed yesterday when there was a huge storm, and yet the hall was basically full of Hearthstone fans here. So shout out to all you guys in the audience. You guys are great.
There were warnings, actually, of falling bricks from buildings while we were walking over. So people really want to come watch Hearthstone and meet their favorite streamers, favorite players, as these are some of the activities happening around the tavern. We've got a place to meet developers. You got an opportunity to meet former world champions here, play the Tavern Brawl featuring the Hall of Champions, or even raid the Lich King. That's all happening here as you can cheer it on and get your card back, meet your favorite players.
Hear Ben Road laugh in person.
That's right. Which is, turns out, not too much different from hearing him laugh on stream.
I mean, you can just actually hear him in person from anywhere in the world. That's the truth of it.
Listen, it's your eardrums, okay? It's your wrist. But yeah, this is, of course, Tice and RDU, two very well-known and well-established players in the Hearthstone scene representing G2, cheering on their buddy Nyria, who's the third member of their squad. But focusing back in, if you're just joining us, Purple is up 2-0. Over Ant, looking to eliminate him and stay alive in the competition. No more room for error. We kind of said at the beginning of the series, but this is especially true for Ant, as we're going to go to an Aggro Druid mirror. And that is going to be pretty volatile based off the opening hand.
That's one way Aggro Druid can get a win.
Against itself.
One interesting thing you see here is Purple's opening hand. Oh dear. Well, interesting things in both players' hand. One, Purple has a Snow Flipper Penguin, which he's actually chosen to play over the Enchanted Raven in his deck because it works better fitting in with AoE buffs and can also guaranteed give him a target for Mark Yashiraj on turn 2 when you play it for 0. But Ant drawing patches in his opening hand when he is down 0-2 and can't lose another game, that has to hurt.
So right off the bat, I kind of want to ask you a weird question. Normally people don't talk about like a coin through the swarm into a poisonous spider, but when you're really afraid of Mark Yashiraj and all of its implications of snowballing the board, I feel like if I'm in Purple's position, I at least heavily consider if I want to try and get ahead of my opponent, so that way, even if he has the best card, I'm prepared for the worst.
I love anytime I can make spiders instead of scarabs. Yeah. I actually just feel so smart every time I do it.
You're a spiders gamer.
Now we're gonna see a scarab here, but the scarab is protecting the penguin as it should.
Right.
It's willing to give its life for that adorable little penguin.
The Snowflare Penguin, too, is, that's not a misclick in the collection screen. It has a lot of beast synergy in the Market Yashiraj. It's also a cheap minion for Corridor Creeper to help get out. Not to mention that if you just have Market Lotus, it just adds an additional 1/1 buff. It does tend to fall really flat as a top deck, but if you can have it early on, which is what Aggro Druid all focuses on, like all about the first 3 turns for this deck, it just spikes that power level even more.
Also, it's adorable.
Also, it is pretty freaking adorable.
And I think that you actually probably get way more fans playing with Penguin than any other time. People just love the Penguin.
No love for the Direwolf, huh?
Is Purple just killing his Penguin? Oh, I think he lost every fan he
Oh,
earned.
no.
You can't kill the Penguin?
Penguin served his
You
purpose,
have to protect
I
it.
guess.
You played the Scarab to protect it, and then you just send it to its doom?
Well, might not be the only thing that dies on Purple's board soon, as Ant is picking up double buffs here. Has the ability to easily trade to the Scarab. Purple kind of mentioned the search for the 4th deck here, by the way, talking about Aggro Druid and the struggles, and I think the performance has shown exactly why. This is what Purple had to say.
3 good decks. They're Priest, Warlock, and Rogue. And then everyone has this 4th deck. And the 4th deck for everyone is the key because it's the power level just kind of just drops off. So whoever has the best performing 4th deck is probably going to be the best.
Yeah, that is not Aggro Druid so far. If you look at the win rates of the classes so far, Druid, outside of the Paladin, still sits towards the bottom of the pecking order here. Well, I guess if you count Shaman and Warrior at technically 0% or null.
They're undefeated.
They're undefeated. That's right.
I love that fan art of Thrall and Garrosh sitting at home eating ice cream, watching the championship.
popcorn.
It was beautiful.
Very appropriate.
Beautiful and sad.
And true. All right, well, Ant can make the best of a bad situation of drawing patches by having Market Lotus buff it, but what's the best case scenario here for all these trades? Do you want to hero power to be able to get that extra kill and minion, or do you want to squeeze in the Direwolves?
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward because he'd love to have 1 more mana this turn, right? Because he wants to spread out that buff on as many minions as possible. Right?
Perhaps you hold on to the patches then and just play Direwolf instead for just more stats.
Yeah, you do end up getting a better stat distribution because you also want to use your hero power to take down one of these Direwolves as well.
In aggro versus aggro matchups, every single point of damage, every single point of health is going to make the difference a lot of times.
Rocket Crawler for Purple.
You know, it's actually not necessarily
It's actually not bad.
the worst situation. Yeah. Because now he has a minion that contests the 4th.
Yeah, the body of that Galactic Crawler at 3/4 does allow him to actually get back to his board in a meaningful way. He was pretty far behind in terms of the overall board presence here with some slower cards in his hand. Power
nice.
of the Wild, though. Yeah, Patches is going to come out. Power of the Wild is going to make that incremental exchange a little bit better. I think the Direwolf plus Hero Power are likely to go into the Galactic here to preserve the health and get more damage in on Purple.
So it's going to be a race at this point. Both players' early game has panned out. Purple will have a pretty big turn 5 play here.
Oh, that complicates things because Living Man and Bittertide Hydra were some interesting decisions there, but Galactic Crawler gives him the ability to immediately remove the patches from the board. He doesn't really have a way to stop the aggression from the others. Yeah, I think Living Mana has to be the play.
Right, because that immediately contests everything.
Right.
Galactic Crawler, because the thing is, if you play Hydra and then crawl up the following turn, it still doesn't answer the threat of following up with your opponent's board, Snowball. This, at least hypothetically, should be able to full clear. So the South Sea Captain comes to the next, keeps Patches barely alive.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Ant go straight to the face. He wants to ensure he gets as much damage as he can off his board. And this, by not killing any of the mana treants here, he restricts Purple to exactly Mark of the Lotus for truly relevant impact spells here, and Purple does not have it.
Right, and by not killing a single tree ant, Purple is not able to play the Galactic Crawler.
Right.
But by trading everything else, he prevents the patches from dying. Minimizes damage, maximizes the swing, and he has Galaka Crawler and Living Mana or Beertide Hydra the following turn. Savage Roar is
so
4 damage
close
right now.
And this is interesting because if he Savage Roars right now, he does 4, 5, 6, 7, puts purple to 2.
That's still so far.
And then purple gets the Galaka Crawler plus Living Mana next turn. But then if he hero powers, he actually puts it to 1, and purple. No, purple would have 1 mana till left over to not die to hero power.
Yeah. And Patches is the only charged minion in Ant's deck.
All right.
So he won't be able to guarantee Savage Roar for more than 2 damage.
And he knows
if that's the case.
He knows that there's at least one like big card, I think, in purple's hand here. Oh.
But I mean, by putting down to 2, he also means that Beertide Hydra is never playable, by the way. Galaka Crawler, Living Mana.
Uh-oh. This Savage Roar is looking rough for Ant. Blood Cell Corsair, that is not what he needs.
I don't even know what he could do in this position.
I think he may just be out of it. Because purple has the advantage on this board here with the Living Mana. If Ant draws his own Living Mana, purple, of course, has the opportunity to trade. And if Ant is able to draw a Living Mana and then something.
I mean, there's a lot of moments where Ant went for trades instead of hitting face. And remember, he was 2 damage off lethal, which was just basically a single bump with any minion that received the buff throughout the course of this game. It's not about whether or not Ant had the response to this Living Mana now. We knew for a while that purple would win in the late stage of the game because he had Living Mana and Beertide Hydra. It's all about could Ant squeeze out just barely enough damage, and he's stuck hero powering 2 turns in a row with a stuck and stranded Savage Roar. And a lot of what ifs might be running through his mind right now as he might be facing the last couple turns.
Savage Roar there.
Not playable this turn, but it is almost certainly death for the next turn for Ant.
Just 2 damage away, but now Ant is 1 draw before he may be eliminated from this tournament.
That's not going to be enough. Drew the Swarm.
He can soak up the hit from the Galaka Crawler with Roar, but not the rest of the treants.
That was a single ability to get charge. Yeah, that was a stone.
Drew to the claw.
Yeah,
instead of Drew to the
well,
sword.
I meant more of the or maybe there was also a 2-mana charger minion that used to be the case. Drew the Saber.
Drew to the,
back in the day. Yeah. That card would be amazing in Agri-Druid.
But Ant does not have it. Purple does. Savage Roar will close out the game, and purple survives, sending Ant home from the World Championship.
3-0 quick match back and forth. And Ant had a great journey in 2017.
Nice game for the girl.
Following up his 2014 run, and a nice hug of sportsmanship shown there by both players as Purple eliminates a friend, a rival, and a fellow region player in Ant. Kind of a sad, bittersweet moment, I guess, if you will, if you're cheering for America's